We've all been told the same story. Coding with AI is supposed to be easy, effortless. You type a sentence and a working app just appears. And then you try it. You hit an error, you tell the AI, it tries to fix it. It doesn't. It tries again. And soon you're not building an app anymore. You're stuck in a loop, watching the same bug come back wearing a different disguise. In this video, I'm not just going to show you one app that I will make. I'm going to teach you the real method, how to direct AI to build software reliably. Before we get started, please consider subscribing and liking the video. It gives us a reason to push harder for you.
Let's start with why people get stuck in the first place. You open your code editor. You describe your app. The AI builds it, and honestly, the first version is usually pretty good. Then you ask for a change, or a bug shows up, and the AI starts patching instead of fixing. It loses track of the bigger picture. The code gets messier, the errors more frequent, and eventually the tool just stops you. Usage limit hit, wait for the cooldown. Sound familiar? Here's the part nobody tells you. The AI isn't broken. It's just lost, and it needs clear direction. That's where you come in. You're the one giving it directions, not just typing requests and hoping. So we're fixing that with 4 simple moves. The 4 underground vibe coding secrets. That's the real lesson today. None of it needs code. It just needs you to think like a director, not a typist. We'll run all 4 live later on one project. But the project's disposable. The method isn't. Learn it here, and it builds whatever you dream up next. Secret number 1. The code editor switch. Right now, there isn't just one AI coding tool. There's Replit, there's Cursor, there's Antigravity, there's Visual Studio Code with its own AI extensions. Each one gives you a certain amount of free usage before it slows you down. The strategy is simple. Instead of relying on just one editor until it locks you out, we move the same project between different editors. When one hits its limit, we hand the project to the next one. There's an extra benefit here too. Switching to a different tool is a bit like asking a fresh pair of eyes to look at the same problem. Secret 2. The universal anchor. README.md. Now, there's an obvious problem with switching editors. The new editor has no idea what the last one was doing. This is where the second secret comes in. A simple text file called README.md. Think of it as a manual that gets handed from one worker to the next. Every time an AI agent makes a change to our application, the very first thing we ask it to do is update this file. What was added, what changed, and what the project currently looks like. That way, when we open the project in a brand new editor, the very first thing we do is have the AI read the README file before touching any code. It's the difference between a new employee walking in blind versus a new employee walking in with a clear handover note from the person before him. Secret 3. The web to desktop pipeline. Here's a small trick that saves a lot of pain later. We are not going to start building inside a heavy desktop editor. We're going to start inside an online builder, in this case, Replit. Why? Because online builders like Replit are fantastic at quickly generating a clean, good-looking interface. We let it do that job first. Once we're happy with how the application looks and feels, we download those files onto our own computer. Then, and only then, do we move into a desktop editor. I'll be using Antigravity for this, and ask it to wrap everything into a real installable app on your computer. Going the other direction, building locally first and trying to import it into an online editor tends to get messy. So we go web first, desktop second. Secret number 4, the rubber duck trick. This is the one that will save you the most frustration, so pay close attention. When the AI gets stuck fixing the same problem over and over, don't let it keep guessing. Stop it.
What you need to do instead is switch from fixing to planning. Ask it to explain exactly where the error is happening. Here's the idea behind that. Software isn't one giant program. It's more like a house built out of small bricks. Each brick is called a function. When something goes wrong, it's almost always hiding inside one specific brick, not the whole house. So all you have to do is ask the AI which function the error is occurring in. Now, this might sound like it needs coding knowledge, but it doesn't. You might not know what 10 times 10 looks like written as code, but you already know exactly what 10 multiplied by 10 means. That's the same gap here. The AI will explain the logic in plain English, and the moment it does, it usually catches, on its own, exactly where it went wrong. You're not ordering it to fix the error. You're planning with it. Before jumping into the project, we first need to understand how our application is built. Let's take the example of a factory that has workers and tools, all working together to produce a finished product. Our application works in a similar way. In our case, Node.js is the factory where everything runs. Electron is the set of tools used to build the desktop application. AI is the worker that helps us develop it. And the final product is our professional desktop application. Bonus tip: always create a requirements.txt file that clearly explains all the features, functionality, and requirements of the application. This helps the AI understand the entire project before writing any code. You can think of it as a blueprint for the project, similar to a README.md, but focused on guiding the AI throughout the development process. Project Library Management System. First step, a requirements.txt file. What goes in it is really up to you, the kind of app you actually want. Talk it through with the AI, question anything that doesn't feel right, and once it feels right to you, move on to the rest of the project. I'll move through this step quickly for the sake of the video, but in your own build, it's worth giving it the time it deserves. Now we head over to Replit, paste in our requirements, and tell it to start building. There it goes. I'll be back once it's finished. Actually, here's something worth pausing on. Replit didn't follow the instruction exactly. It started building the app in React instead of Electron because it said it couldn't visualize an Electron application directly. I caught that, stopped it, and asked it to continue in Electron instead. This is why reading what the AI tells you matters. Skip that, and things quietly drift out of order. Now we download our project. Click the icon in the top right corner, then the 3 dots, then download as zip. Now that I've downloaded the file, let's extract it. Done. Well, as you can see, things are a bit messy in here. That's because Replit started building this in React earlier, and some of that React code is still sitting in the project. So we're going to tell the AI to remove the React files and keep only the Electron ones. Now, let's download our workshop and our worker. 2 things, Node.js and Antigravity. First, Node.js, our workshop. Search for it, click here, and download the MSI installer. Now, Antigravity, our worker. Search for it, click on Antigravity 2.0 and download it. Now, let's install them. First, Node.js. Click Next, click I accept, then Next, 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 and install. And finish. Now, let's install Antigravity. This part is a piece of cake. Just click on it and you're good to go. Okay, I will log into it and come back. Now, let's select our working directory. Great! Everything is set up. Now comes the exciting part, vibe coding.
Our first step is to ask Antigravity to clean up the project by removing all the leftover React files and keeping only the Electron setup. This gives us a clean foundation to start building our application.
Okay, now Antigravity is asking me to review the plan it created for removing the React files. I'll quickly go through it and approve it. Also, there's one thing I forgot to mention. I didn't ask Replit to create a readme.md file because Replit usually generates one automatically. That was my mistake, and I apologize for not pointing it out earlier. That said, it's always a better practice to explicitly ask the AI to create a readme.md file. When you specifically request something, the AI gives it higher priority and usually produces a more complete and higher quality result. Now I'll approve the plan and ask Antigravity to read the readme.md file. Antigravity is asking for a few permissions. I'll go ahead and allow this one, but not this one, because it's related to creating an installable application. We don't want to overwhelm the AI with multiple tasks at the same time. It's always better to focus on one task at a time so each step is completed properly before moving on to the next. Okay, now I'll tell Antigravity to update the readme.md file whenever we make changes to the application. This ensures that every new feature, modification, or improvement is properly documented as the project evolves. It also makes it much easier for other AI tools to understand the application's structure, features, and overall functionality. Now, I'll ask Antigravity to explain what it understands about my application. It has generated a summary, and I'll quickly review it to verify that it has correctly understood the project's requirements, features, and overall purpose before we continue. I've reviewed the summary, and everything looks correct. Antigravity has a clear understanding of the application's requirements, features, and overall structure. With that confirmed, I'll move on to the next step and ask it to start building the desktop application. Now, Antigravity is asking me to run these commands in the terminal. However, since we're vibe coding, I'll simply ask it to execute them for me instead. It's asking for permissions again. This time, I'll allow all of them, so Antigravity has everything it needs to continue building the application without unnecessary interruptions.
Great! Antigravity has finished building the application. Let's check it out. Go to your working directory, then open the dist folder. You'll find two versions of the application, an installable version and a portable version. I'll launch the portable version so we can quickly test the application. Now, I'll take a quick look to make sure everything is working as expected. Once that's done, we'll move on to the next step. All right, the application is working perfectly. Now, we're going to make a few changes to the application. Keep in mind that it's generally not considered good practice to change the requirements once development is already underway. Ideally, all requirements should be finalized before production begins. However, in real-world projects, requirement changes happen quite often. So let's see how we can handle them effectively. Okay, I've asked Antigravity to add a theme toggle button to the application. I also asked it to create a .bat file. The .bat file isn't strictly necessary, but it makes development much more convenient. Normally, every time we want to test the application, we'd have to open the portable build, and after every code change, we'd need to rebuild the application before checking the results. To avoid that extra step, we'll simply ask Antigravity to create a .bat file that launches the application directly in development mode. This lets us test our changes instantly without rebuilding an installable package every time, making the development process much faster. Now, this is exactly the situation I was hoping to show you. Antigravity is stuck in a loop trying to fix the same issue with the run.bat file. I've stopped it, and instead of letting it keep retrying, I'll ask it to explain the problem. Once it explains the cause of the issue, it will usually be able to fix it on its own.
I read the explanation, and it turns out the issue is related to Electron. So instead of guessing, I'll ask Antigravity how I can help it resolve the problem. Let's see what it suggests and work from there. Now, Antigravity is asking me to execute these commands. I'll go ahead and allow it, and then we'll see if that resolves the issue. Perfect! Our application has launched successfully, and the theme toggle button is working as expected. That's a win for us, and it shows that the issue has been resolved successfully. Now, for the final step, we need to compile the application into an installable package again. Since we've made changes to the application, those updates are not included in the installable package we created earlier. Rebuilding the application ensures that the latest changes are packaged into the new installer. Before we wrap up, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. Using this approach, you can build all kinds of applications much faster than ever before. Vibe coding is an incredible way to turn ideas into working software, especially for learning, prototyping, and even building real projects. At the same time, don't stop learning software development. The more you understand programming, architecture, and problem solving, the better you'll be at guiding the AI, reviewing its work, fixing issues, and building more advanced applications. AI is a powerful tool, but your knowledge is what unlocks its full potential. So use AI to work faster, not to stop learning. Combining solid development skills with vibe coding is what will make you a truly great developer. Before you go, I have one small request. I put a lot of time and effort into creating this tutorial and making it as clear and practical as possible. If you found it helpful, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Your support means a lot, helps the channel grow, and motivates me to keep creating more high-quality tutorials like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.